Hey everyone, welcome to Team Forbidden's YouTube page again. It's Andrew the Collector here with an update for Timelords. You may notice this time that I am by myself, but if you want me and Scott to do a double deck profile on this again, please let us know in the comments down below. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, so first off, we're going to begin with pretty much the thing that hasn't really changed. We're going to be running 3 Time Maiden. It's basically the spine of the deck. It's your searcher and it's your special summon from the deck. Most important thing that you really need to know is that its second effect is that you can only use it if you don't special summon during the turn that you use it. That's the only drawback for it, but one thing that you could get around is you can normal summon her. Use her effect to search out any Time Lord for next turn, and then while she's in the graveyard, use her effect to banish her and special summon from the grave. But other than that, special summon her, search a Time Lord, normal summon it, and basically go off from there. But yeah, if you're just worried, that's one way you can get around Ashes, is by normal summoning her, using her effect. If it gets ashed, then you are free to special summon it from the deck. So just keep that in mind. And then the next ones that don't change are 3 Michion, 3 Sandayon, and 2 Raffion. I chose 2 Raffion this time because it was a little bit cloggy at 3, but Michion and Sandayon are the 3 ofs that you just can't run any less of. Michion's effect is just to cut your opponent's life points in half, and Sandayon is a 4000 beat stick that can get over a lot of things, and after it does battle damage, inflicts 2k of damage, so you really can't go without this ratio. The Raffion you can run 2 or 3, but I wouldn't run any less than 2. And then the one-ofs are going to be 1 Camion, 1 Zaphion, 1 Lazion, and 1 Metayon. I'm only running 1 of each of these because they're only good in certain situations. Metayon is good against combo decks because it could wipe out your opponent's board by sending it back to their hand. Lazion for any graveyard effects like Drytron, Virtual World, and Eldritch. Good because it shuffles your opponent's graveyard back into their deck, which if they put all their resources into the graveyard, it can put them in a pretty tight spot. Zaphion obviously mostly for Eldritch, because since they can't be destroyed by card effects, you don't have to worry about Conquistador. And Camion is just good spot removal. Unfortunately, it does target, but your opponent can't respond to its effects. Oh, if you don't know, after battles, you can target 1 card on your opponent controls, spin it back to the deck, and then inflict 500 points of damage. And it's a spell speed 4, so you can't really go wrong with those. So yeah, only 1 of each, because like I said, they are pretty situational. And then that's it for the Time Lords. We're also running the Kaiju engine like we always have. It's the best removal in the entire game. So yeah, you can run any ratio that you want as long as you run around, a total of 6. I like running the Jizukiru and the Gamma Seal, but you can run 1 of each Kaiju if you want. It's honestly up to personal preference if you run the Kaiju package. And the last monsters are 3 of the big forehead Satwater Bath Babies. She's the best hand trap that you can have, at least right now. After the spells, since we don't really go into the extra deck too often, we're running 3 Extravagance, and then 3 Duality, since we also don't special summon very often, aside from the Kaijus. And speaking of the Kaijus, 3 Interrupted Kaiju Slumber. It's a must-up for 3 since I'm running 6. But if you're running any less than 6, then probably go with 2 or even 1. Again, the Kaiju package is up to personal preference, but this is the ratio that I just enjoy, especially for this deck. Then 2 Dark Hole, because your Time Lords can't be destroyed by card effects, so it's a good board wipe, along with the Monster Reborn, because we can have nice things. Now after the traps, this is again going to be up to personal preference. I'm running 2 Torrential Tribute and then 3 Infinite Impermanence. Yes, Infinite Impermanence it's not as good as it used to be back in the combo format, especially in the control format. But honestly, I think that it's still pretty good. Personally, I would run 3 Torrential Tribute and 2 Infinite Impermanence, but I only have 2 Torrentials. So just imagine this ratio just switched up. But this is also a pure going second deck. and Infinite Permanence is really good in going second deck, so I opted to run it because, you know, Alistair is still a thing, Shaddoll's are still a thing, so, you know. Now off to the extra deck. The only Xyz monster is Super Dreadnought Rail Cannons Gustav Max. There are going to be occasions where you go into this guy. It's rare, but I'd rather have this guy and not use him versus have him and, you know, not being able to use him. You know, just if you are able to get out your Michion and your Sandayon in the same board, it is possible. You swing in for Michion, swing in for Sandayon, use Michion's effect to cut your opponent's life points in half, use Sandayon's effect to inflict 2,000 points of damage, and then overlay into your Gustav, use his effect for gain. So, yeah, it's really good to have. The rest of the deck are super poly targets. This is my personal preference of how I choose to run it. I'm running 2 Winda, 2 Apcalone, and 2 Dracostapelia. Over the last few weeks in my online tournament remote duels and extravaganzas, I have been running into a lot of Shaddol, Dogmatica, and Invoke style decks. And honestly, it's pretty annoying, especially with their Shaddol trap card. That card is just it's a hell of a card, I'll tell you that much. But I think that now that Shaddols are starting to make a resurgence, especially with the Invoked and Dogmatica, that super polymerization is becoming even more relevant. So I'm dedicating about half of my extra deck to that specific play because it's definitely difficult. And along with super poly targets, I'm running the Starving Venom, the Trifavalium, Invoked Elysium, since, you know, there are the in case your opponent gets out a Mechaba or and a Shaddol Winda out on the same board, which it has happened, and then only one Mud Dragon of the Swamp because it is the best super poly target of all time. But again, running the extra deck and super poly targets the way that you want is up to personal preference again. Now off to the side deck, 2 DD Crow for against Eldritch, against Drytron to banish their Benton if it doesn't get hit on the next ban list as of recording this video. Artifact Lancia because Virtual World is still a thing, which I also think it even might be a thing even after Calamities gets banned on the next ban list if it does. Ally of Justice Cycle Reader. Drytron is still going to be a horrible deck to face even if Benton gets hit on the list because they got their Xyz monster coming out. So I wouldn't put Drytron on the back end anytime quickly, so I'm still opting to run Cycle Reader. And then for the rest of the side deck, we're running the other Time Lords that we have in the deck, just the other versions, just in case you go up against the decks that they're specifically good against, then you can side out the cards that you don't need for the ones that you do. For like the Graveyard Center decks, you can put in your other 2 Lazion, for the controls, and for the back row decks. And then for the last of the side deck, it's 2 Super Poly, obviously, because our extra deck is filled with Super Poly targets. I would run 3, but I can't find the room for 3. Let me know what you guys would do to put in a third. But that's it for the deck profile. Please comment down below what decks you think that this deck is good against. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, also comment that too. Like, subscribe. Check out our Patreon. It just recently launched. The description's down below. And until then, we'll see you guys next time.